Food for Thought with Professor David Dete.
Welcome to another episode of Food for Thought with Professor Dete. Last week we kicked off a conversation talking about burnout and mental health. Very, very strong connection here. Very important for us to understand what burnout is and how it can creep on you without even you realizing it, and how it can affect your health even mentally. So let's go back to this conversation because we didn't finish it last week. It's interesting what you're talking about, because I sometimes find three words we use almost to mean the same thing, but they have such different meanings. Maybe you can talk to us.
Yes.
You've mentioned two of them. There's stress,
Yes.
and you said stress is not necessarily bad.
Initially.
Yes.
Yes.
There's stress, there's burnout, and then there's just being exhausted. You know, sometimes you work and you just feel exhausted.
Yes.
Sometimes you get to that point and people say, I'm burning out.
Yes.
But are they really burning out, or are they just tired? People have got so much work to do and they're thinking about it and they feel like it's stressing them and they think they're burning out. So how do you differentiate all these things?
It is very simple.
Yeah.
It is right from the word, burnout. That flame, that energy that you had for you as an individual does not seem to be producing results. And if anything, the more effort you put, the less the output. So it's like the energy, the flame has been blown out.
Okay.
Basically, in very simple language, that's what it is. Now, the question, and the symptoms, if you start talking about the symptoms of burnout, and I start talking about the symptoms of, say, when you kind of start going, they are basically the same. Maybe it's a question of severity. People with burnout, they will not be sleeping well, they will not be eating well, they will have, their concentration will be going down. Their interest in things, I think that they seem to be going down. So it is like a prodromal phase of a mental disorder.
Oh.
A prodromal, in medicine, particularly in psychiatry, when you talk about a prodromal state, it means that this person is already developing certain types of symptoms.
Okay.
And if nothing happens, then these symptoms will increase to a point where this person actually has, say, depression or anxiety. And it is there is no clear-cut transition. It is a gradual transition. So when people start talking about burnout, that's basically what it means. How it affects us in different professions, we can talk about that. But the amount of, you see, I'm using stress, effort, interchangeably, because there is no better word or one word that will summarize exactly what I'm doing. But basically, you can see I'm even using stress to mean pressure.
Pressure,
You see, it's like when you are under a lot of pressure, you say I'm stressed. The question is, and I think it's very important for people to know, that when you reach that point of burnout, it is not good for you. Because as I say, it may present with a symptom of anxiety, it may present with the symptoms of depression, it can affect your physical health.
Oh.
Because when you are putting a lot of effort, there are certain chemical changes
in your brain.
In the brain. And these chemical changes will affect your heart rate. It will affect your pressure, your blood pressure. It will affect the way your body metabolizes substances, like body metabolism, so you can develop depression. And there are so many physical conditions that we know can be precipitated by stress. So it is not a good thing for you to have. So just remember, viewers, that when you reach a stage where you feel whatever effort I'm putting in is not producing the necessary results, And don't compare yourself with other people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a difference because we are very, very different. Your thresholds
Are very different.
People go very high to reach a stage where they are, if you have a 0 to 100 in terms of output, you reach a stage where maybe you go up to 75, some people get very close to 100, but the others who just hang around 5.
Yeah.
And beyond that. So just know your level. Yeah, and don't compare yourself with other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wondering, are there particular conditions that would lead to burnout? Because we live such a high-paced life. Everybody is busy all the time.
Let me just give you good examples. Let me give you examples of doctors. I remember when I was an intern, that's when you have just qualified. There's so much pressure. There was so much pressure.
Yeah.
Particularly around September. And I wonder why September?
Yeah.
Because that's when women tend to give birth.
Oh, really?
Well, majority. There's a spike.
There's a spike in September.
There's a spike around September, October. And I remember that time there was so much pressure, and I was then working with a very famous gynecologist in this country. We were interns. And there was no way you could sleep.
Oh.
Because you go back to the doctor's mess, they call you, and once you are called, you have to go.
Yeah.
Because there is a lady who is in labor and things like that, and there are only 2 of us to cover that hospital. The other people were. And I remember it was so bad that my body just gave up. And I was going back to the doctor's flat, and I just fell on the stairs because I was completely exhausted.
The body shut down.
Exactly. And you know what? It's also very dangerous for even doctors, because when you reach that stage, yes, there's pressure for you to achieve, but you are a human being. A time may come when your concentration is not working, is not there, and that's when you are likely to make terrible mistakes. So sometimes when doctors get accused of malpractice, sometimes do people
understand?
Do they understand what could possibly be going on? Or you are working in, say, in theater, and there's so much pressure for you, and you really want to do something for these people, and you can't run away because there's something there that needs to be done, and you can't run away from it, and there is continuous pressure to perform. A time may reach when you are not able to do anything. Or you are a doctor running a very busy clinic, maybe here at Kenyatta National Hospital or another hospital. The patients, they are there, and you really want to help. But there's a limit as to how far you can go.
True.
And I suppose I'm just using doctors as an example. It happens everywhere. We have done research in this country with my students. Of course, most of the work was done with staff working at that time. They were working at Mathare Hospital. Yeah. We found that very many of them suffered from burnout. Okay, yeah. We did some work with actual accountants. One of the students was an accountant, and we were able to demonstrate that even accountants, when they are under a lot of pressure, and you know, accounting requires a lot of concentration. People can make mistakes. Every profession, pastors, like you, when you have so much today, we can put under a lot of pressure. Pastor, I have a problem, come and talk to me. I am having this problem. You finish talking to me, it calls
another one comes,
and then and so on. There is nobody who is immune to or from burnout. Okay. The question is, when you start developing it, do you realize? And or do you know that this is happening? And even a more important question is, when you develop it, are you able to get out of it, or you are in a situation where there's nothing you can do? You are not going to ignore patients, and you watch past somebody and you say, "I'm so tired." Because there is compassion. to do something.
To do something.
To do something, but you as a human being have a limit. So this burnout, when it occurs, it easily leads to depression and many other conditions. So it's something we need to run away from to the extent possible.
Okay, in fact, that was going to be my next question, the correlation between burnout and mental health.
Well, I think both of them are mental health issues.
Okay.
Because when we talk about mental health, you see, I'm not talking about mental disorders.
Yeah.
I'm talking about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Like you talk about physical health.
Yes.
And you can say, I am physically okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have done all the laboratory tests and they are all normal.
Niko sawa.
And niko sawa. And I'm also not only niko sawa, I'm also feeling sawa. Okay. We talk about the same thing in mental health because there is something we call well-being. Well-being is when you look for symptoms of depression, anxiety, whatever it is, and then we can say niko sawa. I'm okay. I have no problems. That is a starting point. The starting point is not when you develop the symptoms. So what we are saying today is that we keep on, we spend a lot of time saying we need to develop to treating depression. We need to identify this condition and manage. Fine, but why don't we also make an effort to move people to the opposite direction, where their well-being is good and is sustained. Okay. So what we are saying is that by the time you start developing burnout, you are obviously moving from that state of being being well in terms of mental health, to a situation where you are not being well in terms of mental health. And burnout is usually a very good symptom or indication that things are not moving in the right direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the time we have for Food for Thought with Professor Ndete. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for your feedback. Keep sending us feedback on 20316 for SMS and WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Until next week, when we pick up on this conversation again, have a good day.
Food for Thought with Professor David Dete.